Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of In Focus with Ken Clough Photography. I'm your host, Ken Clough, and today we're going to dig into one of the most important, and honestly one of my favorite parts of photography, creativity. This episode is titled, Seeing Differently, How Creativity Shapes the Shot, and we're going to explore what it really means to bring creativity into photography. Whether you're listening as a couple planning your wedding, as a family thinking about portraits, or as a fellow creative or photographer, this conversation is for you. Because photography, at its heart, isn't just about pressing the shutter. It's about seeing differently. It's about noticing the things others miss. It's about shaping light, framing a story, and translating real human emotions into something that lasts forever. So today, I want to take you behind the lens, not just to explain how I approach creativity when I'm photographing weddings, families, and portraits, but also to share the technical decisions that go into shaping that creative vision. By the end, I'll even challenge you with a little creative exercise to help you see your own world with fresh eyes. So let's dive in. What does it mean to see differently? Creativity in photography starts with something simple but profound: perspective. When couples or families come to me, they often say things like, "We want beautiful natural photos," or "We just want to feel like ourselves." And that's exactly what I aim to capture. But the difference between a snapshot and a piece of art lies in the way the photographer sees the world. To see differently is to walk around the same wedding hall, the same park, the same golden hour field as dozens of other photographers, and find the angle, the light, and the fleeting expression that tells a unique story. It's about noticing the glint of sunlight hitting a champagne glass, the way a veil catches the breeze, or the quiet hand squeeze between partners right before they step into the reception. These aren't staged, they're seen. For photographers listening, this is where your creative muscles come into play. Creativity isn't something that magically appears when you buy a new lens or stumble on a pretty background. It's cultivated. It's the discipline of constantly asking, how else can I see this? What would happen if I moved 2 steps to the left? What story am I trying to tell with this frame? And for couples or families, this is why you hire a photographer. You're not just hiring someone with a camera. You're trusting someone to see differently, to see your love, your laughter, your quirks, and your family bond in a way that's truthful and beautiful. That's the difference creativity makes. Creativity in weddings, storytelling through images. Weddings are one of the richest places to explore creative vision. Think about it. A wedding day is packed with emotion, color, energy, and detail. But it's also packed with challenges: changing light, tight timelines, crowded rooms, and sometimes unpredictable weather. Creativity is what turns those challenges into opportunities. For example, I once photographed a wedding where the forecast promised golden sunshine, but by the time the portraits rolled around, the sky had turned overcast and gray. Now that could have been disappointing, but here's where the creativity comes in. Overcast skies are basically nature's softbox. The light was even, flattering, and perfect for capturing intimate portraits without harsh shadows. Instead of fighting it, I leaned in, and the couple ended up with beautiful, timeless photos that wouldn't have been possible on a blazing sunny day. Or another time, during a reception, I noticed the dance floor lights reflecting in the bride's champagne glass. Instead of just photographing the glass or the dance floor separately, I moved into a position where they both layered together in a single frame. That's a moment of seeing differently. A guest sipping champagne wouldn't have thought twice about it, but through the lens, it became a vibrant, abstract shot that told the story of the night's energy. For couples listening, this is why creativity matters on your wedding day. The day itself will fly by, but the photographers will become your memory keepers. Creative photography ensures that your gallery isn't just a checklist of first kiss, first dance, cake cutting, but a deeply personal record of all the in-between moments that make your love story unique. Seeing differently through the eyes of a second photographer. One of the things I truly enjoy about photographing weddings and larger portrait sessions is working with a second photographer. At my studio, I often bring in second shooters, not just to cover more ground, but because they bring a fresh creative eye to the same scene. Here's the thing. Even if two photographers are standing in the same room, looking at the same couple, at the same moment, they won't see it the same way. I might be drawn to the emotion on the bride's face while she walks down the aisle, while my second photographer might focus on the groom's reaction, or a tearful parent in the front row. I might capture the wide, sweeping view of the first dance, while they zoom in on the intertwined hands or the subtle way the couple leans towards each other. Reviewing their images afterward is one of my favorite parts of the process. It reminds me that creativity is not just about finding the shot, it's about finding your shot. A second photographer can notice angles, perspectives, or fleeting moments that I might not catch, simply because my attention is drawn elsewhere. And when we bring those perspectives together, the result is a gallery that's richer, fuller, and more layered in storytelling. For couples, this is why having a second photographer can be so valuable. You're not just getting more images, you're getting a broader story told from different creative viewpoints. And for my fellow photographers, working alongside another creative pushes you to see differently too. It's a reminder that there's never just one way to tell a story with a camera. Creativity in portraits and families, personality in the frame. Family and portrait photography is another space where creativity is essential. Because, let's be honest, anyone can line up a group and say, "Smile at the camera." That's not art, that's documentation. Creativity is what makes a family photo feel alive. When I'm photographing families, I look for ways to capture connection. Maybe it's a child running toward their parent and leaping into their arms, or the way a toddler insists on holding on to their favorite stuffed animal. Those aren't imperfections. They're real, human, beautiful moments. Sometimes creativity means embracing chaos. Like the time I photographed a family of 5 with 3 energetic kids at the beach. Instead of trying to force everyone into a perfectly posed frame, I let them play. I chased after them with my camera, let them splash in the water, and snapped the parents laughing in the background. The resulting images weren't perfect in the traditional sense, but they radiated joy. For individuals booking portraits, creativity is about making the session reflect you. Are you a musician? Let's bring your instrument. Are you a bookworm? Let's use a library as your backdrop. Are you an entrepreneur? Let's create branding images that feel polished but authentic. Creativity is about more than composition. It's about translating your identity into an image. And for my photography peers listening, here's where technical creativity comes in. Using shallow depth of field to isolate emotion, or experimenting with perspective, shooting low to capture children's energy, or high to emphasize connection. It's about letting technique serve the story, not the other way around. The technical side of creativity. Now let's get a little geeky for the photographers tuning in. Because creativity isn't just about ideas, it's also about how you execute them. Light. Creativity often begins with light. Do you use the natural glow of golden hour? Or do you bring in off-camera flash to sculpt drama after the sun sets? A creative photographer sees light not as a limitation, but as a raw material. Composition. Rule of thirds, leading lines, negative space. These are the tools. But creativity comes when you decide to break the rules. Maybe you center a couple in a symmetrical frame because it highlights the grandeur of the architecture around them. or maybe you crop in tightly, leaving negative space that feels cinematic. Lens choice. Wide-angle lenses invite context and energy. Telephoto lenses isolate intimacy. Creativity is choosing the lens that amplifies the emotion you're trying to capture. Movement. Don't underestimate the creative power of motion blur. A slow shutter on the dance floor can transform ordinary dancing into streaks of light and color that feel like the memory of the moment. Post-processing. Creativity doesn't stop in the camera. Editing choices, color grading, contrast, black and white conversions all shape the emotional tone of the final image. The same photo can feel soft and romantic or bold and dramatic depending upon how you finish it. For couples or families, this technical side may sound like jargon, but it's worth knowing that behind every creative image is an intentional choice. Your photographer isn't just pointing and clicking. They're making dozens of micro decisions in real time to craft something timeless. Seeing differently in everyday life. Creativity doesn't just switch on when I'm behind the camera. It's a way of moving through the world. Sometimes I'll be out walking my dog, Moxie, and notice how the morning fog diffuses the light through the trees. Or I'll be at a coffee shop and see how the steam from a latte curls upwards in the sunbeam. These little details train my eye. They remind me that creativity is less about inventing something new and more about noticing what's already there. And this is something everyone can practice, even if you're not a photographer. Seeing differently can change how you experience your own life. It helps you slow down, pay attention, and notice beauty in ordinary moments. For couples, it might mean cherishing the quiet in-between moments during wedding planning, not just the big day. For families, it might mean appreciating the silly, messy, fleeting moments of childhood. And for creatives, it means never letting your vision go stale. The creative challenge. All right, here's the fun part. Just like I did in Season 2, Episode 1, I want to leave you with a creative challenge. This one is for everyone. Whether you're a couple, a family, or a fellow photographer, here it is. Choose one ordinary moment this week and capture it differently. If you're a photographer, take your camera and shoot something you see every day. Your morning coffee, your street, your desk, but find a way to make it extraordinary. Play with angle, light, or focus. If you're a couple or family, grab your phone and document something small. A shared meal, a laugh, your child's bedtime routine. But do it in the mindset of storytelling. Don't just record what happened. Try to capture how it felt. If you're just listening for inspiration, practice nothing. Sit in a space and ask yourself, what's something I've never noticed before? Creativity begins with seeing, and the more you train yourself to see differently, the more meaning you'll find in both your photos and your life. So to wrap this up, creativity shapes every shot. It's what transforms a simple moment into a story, what turns technical skills into art, and what makes your photos feel like you. For couples and families, creativity is why your photos feel authentic and timeless. For photographers, it's the discipline and joy of constantly finding new ways to see the world. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of creativity. I hope you walk away inspired, whether it's to trust the creative process in your next session, to practice seeing differently in your everyday life, or to challenge yourself with this week's creative exercise. This has been In Focus with Ken Clough Photography. I'm Ken Clough, and I'll see you next time.